9a. 1 reading. Pet hates. G ellipsis V animal matters P auxiliary verbs and 2. Or would you describe yourself as an animal lover? Have you ever had a pet? How attached to it were you? B. Look at the title of the article. Does it imply that the writer likes animals or dislikes them? A rattlesnake loose in the living room tends to end all discussion of animal rights. Lance Morrow, U.S. writer. See now read the article once. Match each paragraph 1 to 7 to its topic. His attitude to dogs. His current feelings about kittens. People's preference for animals over children. His general attitude to cats. In defense of not liking animals. Oh. Your household at the moment is infested, blessed with cats. 6 of them. Having got rid of one, Dylan, last year, may he rest in peace, leaving only his infirm and senile brother, Floss, behind, my wife accepted a kitten. This kitten has just given birth to 4 of her own fluffy balls. I have to admit that the expression, cute as a kitten, does not seem to be an arbitrary one. They are extraordinarily lovable. They meow and play and generally make the world a fluffier place. I like them, too, but I doubt that it will last. I am a lifelong pet skeptic. Confronted with the kittens, it briefly slipped my mind why I was skeptical. I am now beginning to remember. The house is starting to smell. Cats come onto the bed in the morning at 6:00 a.m. Sit on your head and wake you up. They drink the water in your bedside glass. If you close the door, they wait outside complaining until you open it, so they can sit on your head, etc. Their lovability is more than offset by their extraordinary flair in the art of being annoying. 3. My prejudice is not confined to cats. To dogs I am positively averse. They are needy, time-consuming, easy to trip over, and frequently smell bad. Also, they have been known to bite people. Certainly a lot of dogs in my neighborhood appear to have evolved specifically for this purpose. Future plans about pets in his household. His childhood experience of pets. His children's attitude to animals. 4. There are people, animal lovers is the term, who find people like me, people, who care very little about other species, barely human. If I were feeling apologetic, I would only say that I grew up in a house without pets, and so have never quite become acclimatized to them. My only pet was a stickleback I caught in the canal, which died after 6 hours in my mother's household bucket. And a tortoise, whose shell I found mysteriously empty one day. 5. But I'm not feeling apologetic. Should I feel sorry because I can stare at my children awestruck by love, but not feel the same way about another species? I cannot accept that people who don't much care for animals are emotionally defective. If anything, the reverse is true. Anybody who leaves their inheritance to a donkey sanctuary rather than research for, say, children's cancer, strikes me as profoundly cynical about the human race. 6. Human beings are difficult to love. They are complex, contrary, and they often let you down. Animals are simple and easy to love. But it's a soft option. My children appear to adore animals, but in a highly partial way. They ooh and ah when they see lambs frolicking in the fields, but then sit down and eat their Sunday lunch with mint sauce without a second thought. This is sentimentality rather than genuine love. 7. But for the moment, cynic or not, I am content to have the gorgeous balls of fluff around the house. 3 are being given away, we're keeping 1, and Floss can't be for this earthly realm much longer. That will leave us with 2. I can live with that, just about, as long as no one asks me, ever, to clean out the litter tray. Glossary. Stickleback, a small, freshwater fish with sharp points on its back. Tortoise. Mint sauce, a sauce traditionally eaten in the UK with roast lamb. Litter tray, a shallow box full of a dry substance used by cats as an indoor toilet. 36. Fr. English. Rue. By Tim Lott in The Guardian. D. Read the article again. Then look at extracts 1 to 7 below which summarize the main idea of each paragraph. Circle the bold phrase which explains what each Extract means. 1. I have to admit that the expression, cute as a kitten, does not seem to be an arbitrary one. Equals there are good reasons, no good reasons for thinking that kittens are cute. 2. Their lovability is more than offset by their extraordinary flair in the art of being annoying. Equals cats are more lovable than annoying, more annoying than lovable. 3. My prejudice is not confined to cats, to dogs I am positively averse. Equals I dislike cats even more than dogs, dogs even more than cats. 4. I would only say that I grew up in a house without pets, and so have never quite become acclimatized to them. Equals because I never had pets when I was young, I'm not used to, I don't like living with them. 5. I cannot accept that people who don't much care for animals are emotionally defective. Equals I believe that it's completely normal, quite strange for people not to like animals. 6. My children appear to adore animals, but in a highly partial way. Equals my children have a very inconsistent attitude to animals. 7. I can live with that, just about, as long as no one asks me, ever, to clean out the litter tray. Equals I'm happy to have, prepared to tolerate having pets in my house. Talk to a partner. 1 is the tone of the article. Question mark. A. Humorous. B. Neutral. C. Serious. 2. Do you think the writer's attitude to animals is question mark. A. Realistic. B. Sentimental. C. Hard-hearted. 3. What is your attitude to animals? 2A, B, or C. Explain why. 2. Vocabulary and speaking animal matters. Write the names of the first 3 animals that come into your head. Compare your list with a partner. Then go to Communication 3 Animals P.108 and find out what your animals represent. BP.171 Vocabulary Bank Animal Matters Do Part 1. C. Choose 5 topics. Tell your partner about a person you know who prefers animals to people. Black Circle has an unusual pet. Doesn't eat meat or fish because of their principles. Black Circle is allergic to bee or wasp stings. Is afraid of certain animals or insects. Black Circle doesn't look after an animal properly. Black Circle has a really annoying pet. Black Circle has had an infestation of insects or animals in their house, garden. Is obsessed with their pet, or with a particular kind of animal. Black Circle would like a pet, but can't have one. Black Circle can't eat shellfish. Has been attacked or bitten by an animal. D. Read the sentences and definitions and choose the correct word from the list to complete the bold idioms. Bark, birds, chickens, donkey, duck, fish, horse, lion, rat, tail. 1. I did all the work on this project, so I hope I'm going to get the credit for it. Equals did the hard, boring part. 2. I told him what I thought of him, but it's like water off S back. Equals criticism doesn't affect him. 3. He moved from a village to London, but he was like out of water. Equals felt uncomfortable or awkward in unfamiliar surroundings. 4. You think you've passed the exam, but don't count your before they hatch. Equals don't be too confident that you will be successful. 5. I think James was married before, but I'm not sure. He's a bit of a dark equals a person who doesn't tell others much about their life, but sometimes surprises them. 6. When they divorced, Nick's wife got the everything they owned. Equals the main part. S share of. Equals think that South is. 7. The company says they're not going to make anyone redundant in the restructuring, but I smell a wrong or that SB is trying to deceive you. 8. If the meeting is in Manchester, I can go and visit my mother at the same time. It'll kill 2 with 1 stone. Is. Equals achieve 2 things by doing 1 action. 9. My boss can seem quite scary, but in fact, her worse than her bite. Equals her words are worse than her actions. 10. After playing so badly, he walked off with his between his legs. Feeling ashamed, embarrassed, or unhappy after having been defeated or punished. Which idioms are similar in your language? Which are different? 3. Grammar ellipsis. A 9.5. Read a conversation and complete the gaps with one word. Listen and check. What is the function of the missing words? Have you ever had a pet? B. Sadly not. I've always wanted to, but I've never been able to because I'm allergic to cats and dogs. Are you? I'm not, but my sister, which is why we never had 'em either. But my kids really want a puppy, and so for my husband. 3. By think you probably 5. Then. What's stopping you? You ought to go to a rescue center for abandoned dogs. I already. B. So, you really are going to get one, then? I suppose 7. 5. Listening. A look at the words from the list. With a partner, say what each of these people eats or doesn't eat. An omnivore, a flexitarian, a pescatarian, a vegetarian, a vegan. B. Look at the introduction to a radio discussion about veganism. With a partner, try to guess the correct statistics. D. I'm not 100% convinced, but the children ate _ BP.158 Grammar Bank 9a. 4. Pronunciation, auxiliary verbs and 2. A 9.6. Read the conversations and underline the auxiliary verbs or to when you think they are stressed. Listen and check. Then practice the conversations. 1a. Do you like dogs? B. No, I don't, but my husband does. A. So does mine. We have 3 Alsatians. 2a. I went to Kenya last summer. B. Lucky you. I'd love to go there. Did you go on safari? A. No. I wanted to, but it was a business trip and I didn't have time. 3a. Ali doesn't eat meat or fish, does she? B. She does eat fish sometimes. She loves shellfish. Ugh. I don't like shellfish. B. Neither do I. It's so difficult to eat. B. Communication. Match the sentences AP.111 BP.113. Read sentences and choose responses. Well over 11,500,250 people in the UK now describe themselves as vegan. An increase of over 2,500%, 200%, 100% in 10 years, and 330%, 20%, 10% of people under the age of 35 have tried a vegan diet. 9.7. Listen and check. Do you think the statistics would be similar in your country? How easy is it for vegetarians and vegans to eat out where you live? 9.8. Now listen to the discussion between Jimmy, a vegan restaurant owner, and Simone, a dietitian. Write J. Jimmy. And S. Simone. Next to 1 to 6 in the chart according to whether they agree, partly agree, or disagree. 1. Eating meat is immoral. 2. Veganism is good for the environment. 3. Vegans have to be careful with their diet. 4. Being vegan is a healthy choice. 5. Vegans have problems eating out. 6. Vegans make difficult dinner guests. Glossary. Agrees. Partly agrees, disagrees. Quinoa, qui. NWA. A South American plant grown for its edible seeds. Soya bean, sobi. A bean that can be used in cooking instead of animal protein. Listen again and make notes about the reasons for each speaker's opinion. Then compare with a partner and explain the reasons. Whose side are you on for each argument, Jimmy's or Simone's? Save our planet. Drop the Save our planet. F9.9. Language in context. Look at some extracts from the discussion and complete the collocations with a word from the list. Then listen and check. Deficiency, diet, footprint, impact, position, rights, risk. 1. The most obvious reason for veganism is to do with animal. 2. And the second big reason is that it reduces your carbon. 3. The point about your moral personal decision. 4. And there's a significant environmental with bringing those foods to Britain. 5. 5. We hear a lot about vitamin. 6. Dot. Dot. It's harder to maintain a balanced. 7. Dot. Dot. And that may present a serious health. For children and teenagers. Dot. Dot. I do think that's a very associated answer on. Dot. Dot. If you're vegan. Dot. Dot. Especially. G. Have you tried adopting a vegan diet or would you ever consider it? Why not? Question mark. Do you think veganism is the future? 6. Vocabulary and speaking. A. B. P.171 Vocabulary Bank Animal Matters Do Part 2. 9.11 Listen to some short extracts of people talking about the pros and cons of zoos and complete the expressions from the information box with an adverb. Common adverb collocations. 1. It's something I feel. 2. Well, I don't feel. Way. 3. I have to say, I am. 4. I don't. 5. Well, I'm. Want to be there. 6. I'm. About. About it either. Against zoos nowadays. Agree with you. Convinced that the animal does not. Sure that kids could get the same amount of pleasure from seeing animals in the wild. C. Work in small groups. You're going to discuss some of the tweets opposite. Each person in the group should choose a different tweet, for which they will start the discussion. Decide whether you agree or disagree with the statement and make notes with reasons and examples. D. Hold your discussions. Try to use the expressions from the information box. E. In your group, on which topic do you most strongly agree? B. Disagree? In today's society, there is no place for circuses or other entertainment that exploits animals. Hashtag animal issues. Animal rights activists are wrong to object to animals being used in experiments. Hashtag animal issues. Dogs and cats are fine, but nobody should keep a bird in a cage or a fish in a tank. Hashtag animal issues. People should not be allowed to keep very aggressive breeds of dog, such as pit bulls, as pets. Hashtag animal issues. Hunting for food is acceptable. Hunting for fun is not. Hashtag animal issues. People shouldn't wear anything made from animal skins, e.g. fur or leather. Hashtag animal issues. You shouldn't eat an animal that you wouldn't be willing to kill yourself. Hashtag animal issues. We spend too much time and money trying to save a few endangered species and not enough on general conservation. Hashtag animal issues. 9b How to cook, how to eat. A first-rate soup is more creative than a second-rate painting. Abraham Maslow, U.S. psychologist. G. Nouns. Compound and possessive forms. V. Preparing food. P. Words with silent syllables. 1. Vocabulary. Preparing food. Are in pairs. In 2 minutes, try to think of as many different ways as possible of cooking the foods below. Eggs, chicken, fish, potatoes, rice. B. Compare your answers with the class. Which pair got the most different ways? CP.172 Vocabulary Bank. Preparing food. D. Think of a popular dish from your region or country. Do you know how to say all the ingredients in English? How is the dish prepared? 2. Pronunciation. Words with silent syllables. Read these 2 sentences aloud. Which has more syllables? How many syllables do they each have? 1. Vegetable recipes can be interesting. 2. Everybody I know loves chocolate. B. 9.14 Listen to 10 sentences. For each one, write the last word. Fine-tuning your pronunciation. Silent syllables. Some common multi-syllable words in English have vowels that are often not pronounced, e.g. the middle E in literature and the O in history. When this happens, the word loses an unstressed syllable. If you pronounce these vowels, you'll still be understood, but leaving them out will make your speech sound more natural, and being aware of them will help you to understand these words in rapid speech. C. Cross out the vowels that are not pronounced in the words you wrote in B. D. Listen again and check. Practice saying the words. 3. Reading and speaking. A talk in small groups. When you are making hard-boiled eggs, should you? Dot. Dot. Question mark. Put the eggs in cold water or boiling water. Add anything to the water. Black circle, cook them on high or low heat. Black circle, cook them for over or under 10 minutes. B. Look at the cover of the Food Lab and read the extract from a review of the book. What do you think makes it different from most cookery books? C. At the year. Food PLAB. J. Kenji Lopez Alt. Better Home Cooking Through Science. Lopez Alt's twin specialties are using the scientific method to figure out a better way to prepare a particular dish, and telling you why it works. New York Times. Read the extract from the Food Lab on p.91 and complete it with verbs from the list. What makes hard-boiled eggs difficult to cook well? Add, bring, drop, heat, lower, peel, remove, stick. D. Now read Lopez Alt's recipe for hard-boiled eggs. How does it differ from what your group said in a? Would you be prepared to give it a go? Boiled eggs. Boiled eggs are about the simplest recipe in any cook's repertoire, right? But how often do you get truly perfect boiled eggs? Hard-boiled eggs should have a fully set, but not rubbery, white, and yolks that are cooked through, but still bright yellow and creamy. There's more to boiling an egg than meets the eye. Much more. Nearly every basic cookbook offers a different technique for how it should be done. Start the egg in cold water, or gently lower it into boiling water. 2. Vinegar to the water, or baking soda. Cover the pan, or don't cover it. Use old eggs, or new eggs. And on. But very few offer evidence as to why any one of these techniques should work any better than another. Apparently, boiling eggs is not an exact science. Let's try and change that. If we 3. White will 4. The eggs directly into boiling water, the up much faster than the yolk, so that by the time the very center of the yolk is cooked, the white is hopelessly overcooked. You might put the eggs in cold water and five them to the boil gradually. This method works, but there's a problem. It causes the white to 6 to the shell when you try to peel the eggs. So, cooking hard-boiled eggs slowly gives you good results, but cooking them fast makes it easier to 7 the shell. What I needed was a technique that combined both of these. It took a few dozen tries to get the exact technique, but guess what? It works. You consistently get eggs that are both perfectly cooked through and easy to foolproof hard-boiled eggs. 2 liters water. Pour the water into a lidded 3 liter 1 to 6 large eggs saucepan and bring to the boil over a high heat. 12 ice cubes. Carefully lower the egg into the water and cook for 30 seconds. Add the ice cubes and allow the water to return to the boil, then reduce to a low simmer, about 85 degrees Celsius. Cook for 11 minutes. Drain the egg and peel under cool running water. Read 2 more extracts from the book. Which is about fried eggs and which is about scrambled eggs? How do you know? 1. For a long time, I was happy with how I made, but then I saw a technique in Spain that made me rethink the way I did it. There, it's common to cook them not in a thin layer of oil, but in a shallow pool of it. Cooks would fill the pan with a ½ inch or so of olive oil and heat it up, then tilt it so the oil collected on one side, drop in the eggs, and spoon the hot oil over the whites as they cooked. The eggs cooked quite rapidly from all sides, the whites quickly setting around the still liquid yolks. 2. There's a big divide between those who like to be rich, dense, and creamy. That's me. And those who like them light, relatively dry, and fluffy. That's my wife. I decided that it was only right that I figured out how to make both types, so that we could both enjoy our breakfast. F. Communication cooking eggs AP.107 BP.111 Explain a recipe for your partner to take notes. G. Language in context. Look at the sentences from the extracts. What do the highlighted adjectives mean? Which 3 have a positive meaning? Which one is negative? 1. Hard-boiled eggs should have a fully set, but not rubbery, white, and yolks that are cooked through, but still bright yellow and creamy. 2. Dot. Dot. And those who like them light, relatively dry, and fluffy. Dot. Dot. 3. Continue doing this until the egg whites are completely set and crispy on the bottom. Describing texture. A lot of words to describe the texture of food are made with a noun or a verb plus y. For example, crunchy, greasy, juicy, lumpy, slimy, sticky, watery. H. Which of the adjectives in G might you use to describe? Dot. Dot. Question mark. An apple, chips, honey, an omelette, an oyster, a sauce, squid. 4. Grammar nouns. Compound and possessive forms. Circle the correct phrase in each pair. If you think both are possible, explain the difference between them, if any. 1. A recipe book, a recipes book. 2. A salad of tuna, a tuna salad. 3. Children's portions, children portions. 4. A coffee cup, a cup of coffee. 5. A chef hat, a chef's hat. 6. A tin opener, a tin's opener. 7. James' kitchen, James's kitchen. 8. A John's friend, a friend of John's. BP.159 Grammar Bank 9b. 5. Listening. A look at the photos of some dishes on a restaurant website. Use compound nouns to say what you think they are. B, E, F. B. Now look at the menu on the website. Study it for a couple of minutes and choose what to have. C. Compare your choices with a partner. Was it easy to choose? Is there anything on the menu you'd never order? Is there anything you'd want to ask the waiter about? Henry's lunch menu. 2 courses £19.45, 3 courses £24.95. Starters. Grilled squid with raw vegetable salad and chili dressing GN. Tofu kebabs with red and green pepper, Indian spices, and cucumber yogurt NV, avocado, tomato, and onion salad with lime dressing GNVV. Steamed duck egg with grilled asparagus and hollandaise sauce GN. Mains. New York strip steak with rosemary fries and onion rings N. Baked sweet potatoes with spicy Thai peanut sauce and jasmine rice GVV. Pan-fried salmon with lentils and roast cauliflower. GN. Grilled lamb chops with mashed potato and paprika butter GN. Desserts. Warm chocolate and almond tart with mango custard V. Creme brulee with stewed apricots GN. Orange and strawberry sorbet GNVV. Selection of British cheeses with grapes and walnuts. Extras. Handmade sourdough bread with herb butter NV, £2.95. Olives with balsamic vinegar and feta GNV, £2.95. G. Gluten-free N. Nut-free V. Vegetarian VV. Vegan. If you have any allergies, please ask a member of the waiting staff, who will advise on all ingredients used. D. You're going to listen to extracts from a book called How to Eat Out, by restaurant critic Giles Coren, giving advice about how to get the best out of restaurant meals. Before you listen, with a partner, decide what you think the missing word is in each tip. 1. Always order the. 2. Never eat the. How to eat out. Lessons from a Life Restaurants Giles Comen. 3. Have the vegetarian option, but not in a restaurant. 4. Never sit at a table. 5. Insist on. 6. How to. 7. Be nice to the water and get a result. E9.15 Listen once and complete the tips. Did you guess any of them correctly? What 2 things on the Henry's menu would Giles Coren never order? F. Listen again. What reasons does Giles give for each of his tips in D? G9.16 Language in context. Listen and try to complete the missing words in these extracts. What do you think they mean? 1. It's often smelly to cook. 2. So, whenever we meet for dinner, she is and very the entire bread basket and 3 pats of butter without pausing for breath. 3. I don't know why they give you 4. But in an expensive place with a TV chef and a whole range of exciting things too. The next couple of hours. Dot. Dot. 4. 5. Dot. Dot. Personally, I would much rather restaurants focused on doing one or two things brilliantly than offered a 6. Speaking. In small groups, discuss the questions. 1. Do you agree with Giles Coren's tips? Are they relevant in your country? 2. Are there any tips that you could give visitors to your country that would help them to get the most out of local food in restaurants? 3. In general, do you think that eating out is good value in your country? Why not? Question mark. 4. Where would you recommend eating out? Dot. Dot. Question mark. Black circle for a weekday lunch. Black circle to celebrate a friend's birthday. Black circle with a wealthy relative. 5. Think of a good meal out you've had recently. Where was it? Who were you with? Can you remember what you had to eat and drink? 6. Have you had a meal out recently where something went wrong? What happened? Was just about okay. That. 6. Dot. Dot. So don't order mineral water. Ask for a. You might say, but this fish really isn't as. 7. I'm awfully sorry to. Fresh as I'd hoped. Single quote. 7. Writing. WP.128 Writing a formal email. Analyze a formal email to a restaurant, and write a formal email. 24. 8 and 9. Colloquial English. Talking about. Dot. Dot. Insects and animals. A mealworm per mile. LWZM. 1. The interview part 1. Read the biographical information about George McGavin and look at the photos of insects on these pages. How many of them have you seen? A wasp, WDSP. George McGavin is a well-known British entomologist, academic, author, explorer, and TV presenter. He is Research Associate at the Department of Zoology of Oxford University. He studied zoology at the University of Edinburgh before completing a PhD at the Natural History Museum and Imperial College London. He is a Fellow of the Linnean Society and the Royal Geographical Society, and has several insect species named in his honor. He has presented TV programs for the BBC, including Expedition Borneo, The Dark, Nature's Nighttime World, and Monkey Planet, as well as for the Discovery Channel and Channel 4. He enjoys eating insects, which he describes as flying prawns. B. Watch part 1 of the interview. What is an arthropod and why does George McGavin think they are so important? C. Now watch again. Answer the questions. 1. What examples does George McGavin give of animals with a spine and why does he think they are less important than arthropods? 2. When did he first decide to focus on arthropods? What insect caught his attention? 3. What usually influences how new species are named? How many does he have named after him? 4. What currently makes him sad about arthropods? D. Were you interested in animals when you were young? What kind? S. Question mark. Glossary. Crustacea, Crativa, creatures with a soft body and a hard outer shell, usually aquatic, e.g. crabs, prawns. Mammal, an animal that gives birth to live babies, not eggs, and feeds its young on milk, e.g. a cow. Amphibian, an animal that can live on land and in water, e.g. a frog. Badger Badger, a nocturnal animal with grey fur and wide black and white lines on its head. Borneo, a large tropical island in Southeast Asia. Part 2. And now watch Part 2. How sympathetic is George McGavin to people who have phobias of insects? Has he ever been afraid of a living creature? B. Watch again. Mark the sentences T. True. Or F. False. Dot. Correct the F sentences. 1. People say they have a phobia of insects because of the way insects look and move. 2. George McGavin thinks children develop phobias as a result of adults' fears. A shield bug, phi. LDBG. 3. He thinks a fear of spiders is never justifiable. 4. In the UK, there are spiders whose bite can make you seriously ill. 5. He thinks curing people of phobias always takes a long time. 6. His first reaction when he saw the snake in the Amazon was excitement. 7. The snake didn't like the clothes McGavin was wearing. 8. When he realized how dangerous the snake was, he dropped it and ran away. CDO. You have a phobia of any animals or insects. How does it affect your life? Glossary. Tarantula, a large hairy spider. Ver de lance, a poisonous snake native to South America and the Caribbean. Part 3. And now watch Part 3. What does George McGavin say about ... Question mark. 1. Killing insects at work. 2. Killing insects at home. 3. Optimal foraging theory. 4. Harvesting insects in cold and hot countries. 5. A mealworm in a snack. 6. Cooking crickets for children in Oxford. 7. One boy's mother. B. Compare with a partner. Then watch again. Can you add any more details? An ant, aun. A bee, by. Slash. A cricket, cricket. A cockroach, cockroach. FR English. Rue. A plant hopper, pla. NT, hop. See, have you ever eaten insects? Would you be prepared to? Do you think we will be doing this more in the future? Glossary. A flash in the pan IDM, a sudden success. A moth, MPE. Which lasts only a short time and is not likely to be repeated. 3. The conversation. Sean. Joanne. Emma. Ecology, the relation of plants and living creatures to each other and to their environment. Swarm. Verb. Opening parenthesis. Of insects. Move around together in a large group, looking for a place to live. Harvest. Verb. Cut and gather a crop. Catch, a number of animals or fish to eat. Snail, a small soft creature with a hard round shell on its back that moves very slowly and often eats garden plants. 2. Looking at language. A flea, FLI. Slash. Informal and vague language. George McGavin uses a lot of informal expressions, as well as vague language, which is common in colloquial English when we don't want to be too specific or precise. Vague language makes us sound more informal and chatty. Watch some extracts from the interview and complete the missing words in the highlighted phrases. 1. And the sad truth is that although we are sure there are 8 million species of arthropods, they're unknown. 2. And I think adults sometimes pass their fears on by, oh, what's that? Oh, it's a spider. Single quote. 3. But still there are, like 7 million, people in the United Kingdom who are terrified of spiders and moths. Single quote. 4. However, if you have a cat and you don't control the fleas, are of a pest. 5. No, it isn't a flash in the pan, we will have to address this quite seriously in the next, 100 or years. Single quote. 6. Lots of people say it's because insects are dirty or they look funny or 7. And the kids went wild. They ate the 8 feet 1 lot. Single quote. Yeah, and your point is? She was, at home he doesn't even eat broccoli. Single quote. Be with a partner, say how you could express the highlighted phrases in more formal or neutral language. Or watch the conversation. Tick. Check mark. The correct option to sum up their main conclusion. Wildlife programs are popular because ... All children are interested in animals. The programs are of such a high quality now. David Attenborough is such a good presenter. B. Watch again. Complete the sentences. 1. Sean compares watching wildlife programs to ... 2. Joanne particularly enjoys finding out. Dot. Dot. 3. Joanne's younger child enjoys wildlife programs because. Dot. Dot. 4. Although Emma recognizes wildlife programs are popular, she. Dot. Dot. 5. Programs filmed under the sea and in the jungle are examples Emma gives of. Dot. Dot. C. Do you ever watch wildlife programs on TV? Why do you think they are so popular? D. Watch some extracts. Complete the missing words and phrases. What 2 functions do these have in the conversation? 1. Emma takes ages. Question mark. 2. Joanne learning something and reconnecting us with nature. Question mark. 3. Joanne. Dot. Dot. And he has this great way of just putting things across to us that we can all relate to. Question mark. In a way. 4. Emma and they're almost becoming more extreme, as well. 5. Emma. Dot. Dot. There's so much variety. Question mark. E. Now have a conversation in groups of 3. Discuss the statements. 1. People are only interested in protecting appealing, fluffy animals and don't feel strongly about conserving species such as insects or reptiles. 2. It is justifiable to allow a few people to pay a lot of money to kill wild animals for sport as long as the money is used to support conservation.